In a quiet village nestled between rolling hills, there lived a widow named Mama Abeni and her only daughter, Ife. Their home was a modest hut, its walls cracked under years of wear and its thatch roof frayed by relentless rains. Life here was simple, balanced on traditions woven as tightly as the baskets Mama Abeni crafted each day. She was a woman of quiet strength, her hands calloused from years of weaving under the searing sun. Every day she carried her baskets to the market, smiling as she placed them in neat rows, her heart fueled not by riches, but by the love she bore for her daughter. Mama Abeni often reminded Ife of this love. She would say, "My child, we may have nothing, but gratitude builds riches that gold cannot buy." But Ife, well-fed and clothed by her mother's endless sacrifices, did not understand this wisdom. To her, gratitude was a poor man's excuse. She despised their worn-out hut, their simple meals made of yam and vegetables, and most of all, her mother's tired hands. Why, she wondered, had fate cursed her to live like this, while Ada, the baker's daughter, wore golden bracelets on her wrists? Or Zainab, daughter to the merchant, wore silk dresses that shimmered like the river? One day, as Mama Abeni stirred a pot of steaming cassava soup over their firewood stove, Ife sat idly by, her chin cupped in her hands. Her face was stormy with resentment. "Mother," she began, her tone sharp, "why do we live like this? Look at you, always wearing that faded wrapper, always smelling of sweat and firewood. It's embarrassing. If only I had been born into a rich family, I would wear fine clothes and live in a house so grand that no one could laugh at me." Mama Abeni paused, turning to look at her daughter. The softness in her eyes betrayed her sadness, but she did not raise her voice. She didn't need to. Her silence was a teacher louder than words. But silence alone could not change a foolish heart. That night, as the moon cast silver light over the village, Mama Abeni folded her hands in prayer. She prayed to the spirits of the land, guardians of the ancient ways, seeking their wisdom. "O great spirits," she murmured, "open my daughter's eyes. Let her see the truth beneath her envy and learn the value of love and humility." The spirits heard Mama Abeni's plea, and when Ife lay her head on her mat that night, something extraordinary happened. Ife's dream began in a palace unlike anything she had ever imagined. Rising before her was a sprawling courtyard of gleaming marble, surrounded by walls adorned in gold filigree. The air was fragrant with jasmine and peppered with laughter from richly dressed women adorned in beads that dangled like starlight. One by one, they approached Ife, their smiles unyielding. "Princess Ife," they called her, "welcome to your kingdom." Ife's stomach flipped with joy. She raised her arms, now draped in a velvet gown embroidered with rubies. Golden anklets jingled as she walked toward a table piled high with exotic fruits, steaming meats, and crystal goblets filled with palm wine. Her heart swelled. "This is how life was always meant to be," she laughed. "I am finally free of poverty." But as she reached for the goblet, the air turned thick, heavy with foreboding. From behind the table stepped an old woman, her posture stooped but her eyes glowing like embers. Her gray hair flowed in waves that cascaded over a robe of pure light. She was unlike any of the women who had greeted Ife earlier, and her presence froze the laughter in the air. The old woman fixed her gaze on Ife. When she spoke, her voice was deep and haunting, carrying an authority that silenced even the palace walls. "Everything you see here is an illusion. Your heart is ungrateful, and you have mocked the hands that fed you. Now, you must see the truth." Before Ife could respond, the palace crumbled in a whirlwind of dust and ash. Her velvet gown turned to rags, and her golden anklets fell to the earth, shattering like broken shells. She was thrust into darkness, surrounded only by the sobbing of wind through skeletal trees. She called for her mother, desperation rising in her chest, but there was no reply. Cold and hungry, she stumbled through the forest, each step heavier than the last. Ife woke with a gasp, drenched in sweat and trembling at the vividness of the dream. In it, she had felt pride, joy, despair, and fear, all too real to dismiss as fleeting imagination. A deep shame settled over her as the old woman's words echoed in her head. "You have mocked the hands that fed you." For the first time, Ife's mind wandered not to golden bracelets or silk dresses, but to her mother. She saw her hands as they truly were, not symbols of poverty, but emblems of love. Those hands had woven baskets day and night, not for wealth, but for her. Her heart tightened as the weight of her foolishness bore down. Ife rose and hurried to find Mama Abeni, who was already at the stove stirring the morning porridge. Her mother's figure seemed smaller today, bent slightly by years of labor. "Mother," Ife cried, falling to her knees beside her, "forgive me. I was foolish. I have been blind to all you have done for me. I complained about what we lacked, but I see now that I have been richer than I ever knew. You have given me more than gold. You have given me your love." Mama Abeni knelt beside her daughter, brushing away her tears with the edge of her wrapper. She smiled, the kind of smile that carried the wisdom of moons and suns. "My child," she said softly, "love and hard work are worth more than gold. You have come to see this, and for that I am grateful. Let us work together as a family and build a life filled with treasures no king can steal." From that day forward, Ife changed. She woke early to help her mother weave baskets, her fingers learning the patterns that bound their livelihoods. In the market, her laughter mixed with the chatter of villagers as she sold the baskets proudly, her simple wrapper fluttering joyfully in the breeze. She no longer envied Ada or Zainab. Instead, she saw that true wealth was in labor done with love and a heart filled with gratitude. The spirits had answered Mama Beni's prayers, and their lesson had turned Ife's foolish heart into one of wisdom. And so, in that small village in Nigeria, while golden bracelets and silk dresses shimmered in passing sunlight, a mother and her daughter wove not just baskets, but a bond unbreakable and eternal.